Happy holidays, guys. This is Dr. Witten, and we are cruising through Vlognica day after day, making a video every day. And today we're going to be talking about New Year's resolutions and the power of making habits. How to create good habits, how to get rid of bad habits. We're going to go into the science of that today. So hopefully you can stick to your New Year's resolutions for a bit longer this year at least. So first, give the video a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and you'll be able to get all our great content every day. Here we go. Last year, 2019, I decided to get back into competitive swimming.
In lane 5 from Santa Barbara Masters, Jesus Whitman.
I hadn't done it in 30 years. I had no habit for swimming. I hadn't swum probably in a couple of years at that point, here or there. And what I realized is I had read a book called Good Habits, Bad Habits by Dr. Wendy Wood. She's a professor at USC. And I read that book and I got to meet her and interview her about 2 years ago. She said that to create a new habit, you have to do things in the same way every day. So when I would go swimming, I would go at the same time. I would park in the same parking space. I would use the same locker. Ideally, I would swim in the same lane. I would use the same shower afterwards. If you do everything just the same every day, it becomes repetitive and you don't have to think about it. So the whole point of habits is to make them so you don't have to think about it. You don't have to use willpower. Dr. Wood said willpower just isn't effective. They did some research with a fitness database company. They looked at 31 million fitness athletes that went to the gym, and they found that by the second Friday of January, people were already starting to drop off their fitness habits. So started to slip just after a week and a half, 2 weeks into the new year. Another study we found was that 55% of the people still were doing their New Year's resolutions by the end of January. So about half had already dropped it. So yeah, let's look at what makes a good habit, how you create a good habit, and how you get rid of bad habits. So one thing, as we said, is whatever it is that you're doing, do it the same way every day. The next thing is make it easy, make it simple. So for example, in the United States in the 70s, about 45 to 50% of Americans smoked. And so the Surgeon General decided he's going to employ some of this technology to try to drive down the number of smokers in the country. And he did some interesting things that we can apply to our own habits. The first thing was they got rid of TV commercials and billboards for cigarettes so that people weren't triggered. So the way that could apply to you is, like, let's say there's junk food. Let's say you have, a jar of cookies that's right on the counter. And so every time you see that cookie jar, you get triggered, just like a TV commercial or a billboard. So they made it illegal to advertise cigarettes on TV, on radio, and they got rid of cigarette vending machines. In the 70s, there was cigarette vending machines. And then they started taxing the heck out of cigarettes, so it made it a lot more expensive. And they didn't have it in supermarkets, so it wasn't so easy to get. And in convenience stores, as you probably know, they don't have it where you can just grab it. You actually have to ask the cashier, oh, give me a pack of that, or give me a pack of that. So there's kind of the social stigma of everyone in the convenience store knowing you're a smoker. So that was one thing that drove it down. And then they eliminated it from restaurants. So oftentimes people associated smoking with the environment of restaurants. So, and I remember when cigarette smoking was allowed in airplanes, they had a smoking section and a non-smoking section. So they eliminated all these environments that were usually cues that would get people to light up. And so if you can find ways to apply that, oftentimes there's environmental cues that trigger bad habits, and there's other environmental cues that trigger good habits. Like, I can't work out at home. The home has never been a place where I've worked out. I've always belonged to gyms. I've done gymnastics. I've done swimming. If I'm at a gym, I can work out no problem. But in my living room, it's like almost impossible to get me to work out just because that environment has never been one that I've associated with fitness and working out. So arranging your environment is an important one. So the point is that people who are successful don't necessarily have more willpower. What was discovered is that people who are successful are really good at organizing their environment so that the things that they want to be doing are easy and the things they don't want to be doing are hard to do. So that's kind of like the healthy food, you want to put that on the counter where it's easy to reach. And the unhealthy things like the cookies and the chips, and you want to put them way, way up. If they're even going to be in your home, ideally you wouldn't even buy them. But if they're going to be in your home, you want them way up in the cabinet so it's harder to reach. You don't see them. You know, when you open the cabinet, it just makes it more work. So check out that book. It's got a lot of great tips, a lot more than I can possibly get into here. Good Habits, Bad Habits. And look at the habits that you want to change this next year. I recommend don't pick more than 1 or 2 habits per month so you can totally focus on those habits, because changing a habit takes effort. It's kind of like developing a new muscle. And so look at how you can make it more convenient, how you can reward yourself for sticking to that habit, and other things like find an accountability partner that checks in and says, okay, it's time to go swimming, okay, it's time to take your run, okay, did you stick to your diet today? So if you have an accountability partner, that's an awesome asset as well. So I'd love to hear your comments, what your New Year's resolutions are this year, what challenges you've had, if you're able to keep them, and you know, what kind of stops you, what blocks you, what helped in keeping the habit. So that kind of feedback's really useful for the other viewers to look at and get some ideas, because there's all different types of, there's fitness goals and financial savings goals and sleep goals, and you know, all different goals that we have to improve, you know, our families and our work lives and our love lives and our fitness, our health. So I hope this helps. Best of luck with your New Year's resolutions. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and we'll see you next time.